Hi everybody, welcome to another short video on camera repair. What I have here is a JVC HD camera. The problem with it is the tape deck is jammed. It won't eject tapes. The model number for this JVC is GY-HD201E. What I'm going to start doing now is stripping down the unit to get access to this deck assembly and see can I see any problems. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the door itself. I've never done one of these before. It's the first I've seen of this particular model. So this is live and things will happen. Okay. The battery pack. Just going to remove this shoulder cushion. To get this shoulder pad off is there's screws beneath it. So there's a piece you can press at the side there and it will slide, and you will find a screw holds it in place here. And press it and slide it down the other way, and you get access to the screw at the other end. And then we have 3 screws in the front of it. It should come. Okay. Now we have access to these button screws here on this cover. Get out of the way. Disconnect the mic. And see what else we have to take out. There's a screw in here. Fairly long one compared to the others. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this lens off. It just clips off. Put it away safely. And I can see a screw here. And another one just beneath the handle and the lens. just a bit stiff. Now, see this fella? He's disconnected for some reason. Just going to pull this out of the way. Now we have access to our mechanism. From what I can see 4 screws. There's one here, top right hand corner. Just see can I get closer up, view of that. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take this top screw out. One at the bottom. These are silver screws. Top left hand side. And bottom left hand side. There will be cables behind this, so I'll be very careful when I'm lifting this out because I don't know what I'm going to see. Okay, not too bad. I see one cable that's been disconnected there. I'm just going to take that out. And what I see now is there's 2 cables here that we clipped out. I normally get, yeah. That's my deck assembly out. Next thing I have to do now is try and get that tape out without damaging it. That might be a difficult thing to do. Start by taking this cable for the loading motor off, and you'll see it just plugs into the board on the bottom end. Then we have a cable here that goes up to this PCB. I'm just going to unhook the PCB from the board. 2 clips into the PCB. Hook this out with a little clip. And just going to take him out of the bottom as well. There is a retainer clip on him. Push the clip up and he should come out handy enough. This should clip out now. Clip each side. Out of the way. At first glance I can't see anything that will be holding the tape in. I'm just going to try unloading it. I'm going to try and unload this now with a power supply. I have a 5-volt supply here. I have limited the current down to about 150 milliamps. I have the load motor disconnected from the board. Let's see which way it unloads. As you can see, it doesn't unload. I'm going to start by taking this board off. Oh, there you are, it just came out itself. And the tape came out by itself after it just pulled out. What I'm going to do now is I push the cassette back in fully, and I'm going to try and load and unload the deck. Okay, let's eject. Arms are going forward. But as you see, they're not going the full way. This arm here is not locked home fully. It's got to go home a little bit more. And likewise, this is not home fully either. And this arm here has to go over a fraction more to lock in with this. You got a little stud there, and that should go forward in there and should lock into that. But it's not doing it. So what I've got to do now is strip this deck down and see where the problem lies. It will be a difficult process to do on camera. I'm going to start by taking off this board off the bottom of the deck. Here it goes up. Got little clips on this one here. Slide it back. Just going to pull it out with it. This one here should lift upwards. Let's be careful we don't break it. That slides out. On part of this board, it looks like we have the mode switch here. This is the mode switch for the senses what position your tape deck is at. Looks like there's 4 very small screws holding in the PCB to the deck assembly. And there's one larger one there, but it looks like it's got earth connection on it. Bear that in mind when we put it back together again. I'm just going to carefully prise this up now, see is there any other cables underneath. No cables, right, that's good. I'm just going to bring this back to its unloaded position. Be very careful with this, and I let it go slowly because I don't want to break the piece of it. It looks like it's fully unloaded. what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mark the deck in the unloaded position. As you can see there, that's the mode switch there, and I put a little mark in there just to see will it line up with that when I complete the repair. Now, next, I'm going to try and get this sub-assembly off. Get in view. There's one screw here. And the other on the far side. And it should slide back, lift up and slide back. And it should come off. Everything going right. Slide out with these little brackets here. One side and the far side. Ah. I'm going to try and get this out now, and what I would do is I will bring this down so this is in line with this little cutout here, and I'll push it through or around. Do the same with this side. And it slips out. Now bring this far. I'm just going to take this bracket off the bottom end here. Now bracket, get it out of the way. And we have two screws this side holding it on, the bottom. And another one there. I should really mark where they come out because there's spare ones there. Out of the way. Now, let's check our load now. Still jammed. So it's nothing about to do with the sub chassis, it's something to do with this main chassis here. So what I have to do is put in the unload position again. And start disassembling. I'm going to take out the drum motor now, and I'm just looking at the service manual. There's 2 screws here on this side. It's a black one. On this side. And then this one here. And it slides out. Also, this here seems to be flopping about. Take another way. And what I normally do is I stick a few screws back in so I know where everything goes. Especially odd screws like that, black. I'm going to take out this drum, or the I'm going to take out this loading motor now. There's 2 screws holding it in. Clips out. That's your loading motor out. And likewise, I'm going to stick these screws back in as well. It saves a lot of time when you're reassembling. You don't have to worry about what screw is which. And of course I have this black screw that went down the centre of for the head. Retain the head as well. There are 3 black screws. Let's just put that back in its place. Next step. I'm going to take off the pinch roller assembly now. There's a washer here that's going to be very hard to remove. I say hard, I mean impossible. I have the washer nearly out. That's him there. Very small, very hard to see. Won't be easy to lose. Just going to lift up the pinch roller assembly now. That's the pinch roller assembly. Next component I'm going to remove is the exit guide arm here, and that's held in by a little washer down here, and it's going to be another difficult washer to take out. Very difficult. lifts it out. Just going to remove this exit guide arm now. And out it comes. It contains the head cleaner as well, that's the automatic head cleaner. I'm going to now remove this middle catcher assembly. There's 3 screws holding it in place. And it lifts out. Next step is to remove this wheel cover assembly. There is a screw down here, right beside the take-up wheel. And it should slide forward and then out. This is where you have to be careful now, because the components now can just fall about if you turn the deck upside down. There's nothing to hold these gears in place. I'm going to now remove the idler arm assembly. You should just pull up now, out of the way. Yes. I'm just going to start working on this back tension arm here at this location here, and we have a back tension adjustment here. I just want to put a marking on this so I get it into the same position. I've just marked it with some black marker, and what I'm going to do is just going to take any excess off it now. First thing I'm going to take now is this washer off. There's a washer right here at this particular point. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this arm up. There is a spring. It should lift up out of the way. Maybe I'll take the spring off first. Okay. That's that off. should lift up straight. The back tension arm, back tension brake I should say. I want to rub my mark in off it. You can see my black mark. I'm going to remove now the sub-deck assembly. There's 5 screws in it. One here. And one over here, the left hand side. Bottom left. And bottom right. Then we have one here as well, which is very loose. This one here, I should say. Forward. And we got one here. And it's not very clear from the diagram which one it is. I'm going to chance this one here. Yes, that's a bit loose. Seems to be catching on there. This particular place here. Is that because it's out of alignment? I don't know. So what I'm going to do is, for this particular one, even though the instructions don't tell you to do this, I'm going to take this little thing off. Take it out of the way. Just so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just going to push this arm up here, and that brings that up just enough. The silver piece here that's trapping it just brings it up enough to get it above it. Yeah. Feed the cable through. Yeah. That's it out. We are in a position now to see some of our timing marks. The loading arms themselves have a timing mark here, a little point here, and runs straight across there. If you look at it, I'll just get a secret, get a closer shot. Two points of this. That's correct as for the diagram of the service manual. So I'm not worried about that end of it. I'm just going to have to check the rest of it now. I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper now to get in further, check out these timing marks. Take this out of the way first. And we've got another little clip here. I'm going to use the same process this time as for the other small clips. normally try to jam one side of it. Push the other upwards. That's the clip out. This arm should come up now. Timing marks don't look right. I can't get any of them to line up. It's loading now. Unloading. Okay. We got these timing marks here lined up. There's a little notch that lines up with a little arrow on this here, and he lines up there. Now I've got to check on the right hand side here. We got mechanism over this side. See how that lines up with this. This seems to be okay here. Nothing missed there. So I'll have to find the alignment marks for that on another page. I'm going to remove this assembly here. Off. Now we have access to the timing marks of this cam here. I'm going to move a few more parts again at the alignment because I can't see them with these arms in the way. So I've took out 2 screws already, 3 screws. I've just got to take out this 4th one. Now, pull this gear out. See what we can see, any of that timing marks. There's only one screw hole in this loading arm supply side, so I've taken that out. We're nearly down to the deck. This here is lined up. There's a hole in the chassis, and move this bit to the left. The hole in this gear lines up with the chassis here, and there's a little notch in that which lines up with a notch on the gear. So that's them all okay. That's okay. Problem must lie with this side here because I can't see much line marks and it's very hard for me to tell what's out of line. So I'm going to have to investigate further, see if I get some information on that end of it. Okay, what I see is this arm here has got to be brought over here, so this hole lines up with a hole there in the actual chassis. You can see through. And then we got the same here. We got for the other lever, there's a little notch, little hole in the chassis there, and this goes into that. I have this lever and gear assembly in, and I have that hole lined up with the hole in the chassis. And of course this one here is still lined up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this other gear, this cam gear in place. This cam gear has a hole in it as well that lines up with a notch on the chassis. The notch is right there. I'm going to just put it in place now, making sure that I don't misalign any of the other gears in the process. I know it's very hard to see with my arms in the way. This is still lined up with this hole here, and this is still lined up with this hole here. And I've just double checked that these are all still lined up around here. I'm going to get this mechanism back in as well. And there's a little notch on it there, an arm that goes into this sliding system here. First of all, I better not forget to put this screw back in. Holds this gear in place. Let's say I never did one of these before, and I'm reading from an instruction book as I go on. I got this cam in position now, and I got this lever here, and the little arm notch in it goes into this groove in the cam. It's actually here, right at this spot here. Let's see, can I get a better shot at it? That's where it's sitting in there, and it actually lines with the screw. There's a hole in the centre of it there, and it lines with the screw in the cam. I'm going to put this belt back in place. the idler gear. I've tried various different methods to get this deck to work. The alignment hasn't been off. The problem has been, and when I looked at it under a magnifying glass, is this rotary gear. I knew the problem was on this side, but I don't know if the camera is going to be able to pick this up or not. Let's see. Try again. It's not going to be able to pick it up. Right at that point there in this little groove, it's actually after wearing a hole through to the other side of it, and it's actually jamming on that. If you see there, you can see that it just sticks on it. If I slide that through around there, and it's sliding nice and easy, look, then it just comes to that point there, and it kind of, you can hear it there. But there's a little hole there, you can see it right through. The dark spot right at that particular point there. And that's where it's catching. So I'm going to have to order this part.